Welcome back to another little episode on Guildford Wen. It was decided to make a turntable for the transporter wagon here, as there were two, in fact, at Dinorwick. But as I'm going to be doing a small module, I felt just one would be necessary. Now, to make this turntable was a bit of a head scratcher for me, because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to go about it. But I came up with a solution. I had a spare sheet of 2.5mm thick plastic card. So I cut a rough 150mm disc, like so, marked out the gauge of the track, cut some strips of 40mm wide plastic card, 2.5mm thick, which would then trap the rail on the turntable. Now you can see I have actually started this and put several strips down, and you can see the gap that is there. Now if I can turn it a little bit, I don't know if you can see that, but there is actually a bevel on each of those edges. And the bevel is there so that it locates, much like the chairs do, which I'll show you here, much like these chairs do in the rail. The idea is that it won't come out. And you can slide this bevel sits in the web here, there, and traps the rail so it can't come out. The idea is then you have a solid lump basically of rail which won't move. Hopefully it won't move. Now you can see these squares, these are 40mm squares. These particular ones haven't been cut to this circle yet, but when I finish the turntable they will be. So I have to put two more in there like that, and there like so. That's not quite finished yet, but I've just laid that in there so you can see what I'm up to. And then I'll cut a square out in the middle here to trap the rail which goes that way as well. So you have a crossover, if you like, a square, right angles of rail. Of course, when I cut the rail, it'll be between these 2 points and vice versa that way. And these squares will hold, plastic squares will hold them in nice and tight. As you can see, that's just a spare one, but you can see where I'm coming from on that, I'm sure. So the idea then is to detail that up. I'll put up a picture of the turntable up in a minute at the end of this video, so you can see what and how they were used. But as I said earlier, they only used one towards the end of the life of the line. They just used one bay, which would be sort of here somewhere. I haven't actually worked out where yet. As the slate industry declined, so they didn't find the need or feel the need for all that work with two transporter wagons or two transporter host trains. They may do with the one. Quite long. In fact, I was talking to David Mills last night about these particular wagons. And in reality, they all varied. They varied so much in their construction, not how they went about actually carrying the wagons on the rails, on these rails here, but actually in the main construction of these transport or host wagons. Quite interesting if you're interested in that sort of thing, which I am. I really do like delving back into history, which is really, for me, within living memory, because the quarries closed and the sale of the the bits and pieces went ahead. I think about 1967, I could be wrong, 67, 68, 69, around about that time. And I was a teenager then, obviously not that bothered about railways at that time, but as I've got older and travelled around in my holidays, I became very interested in Snowdonia in North Wales. And in particular, I was very attracted to the quarries. So the plasticard is set up and glued onto the base, if you like, of the turntable using plastic weld. And that's very strong, and it does work very, very well. And you've got a bit of time to move things around should you need to. But if you get it quite a little bit wrong, I've found that if you soak it again, run some in, you have a chance of it softens the plastic and enough for you to be able to move it. I wouldn't say it was the best way to do things, but it's a way if you do make a mistake of being able to move them around. And in fact, if you flood enough on, you can actually lift it off, but you will get a rather damaged surface. How I'm going to load these onto the baseboard, I've not yet decided. That will be a subject of another short video. I have to say the photographs that inspired me, and you'll see one come up at the end of this video, were taken from the narrow gauge books being produced by Lightmore Press just lately. They did one on Irish railways, and they've done one on narrow gauge in Wales. Very, very, very good books, and the photographs are absolutely stunning. I will put a picture up of the book with the ISBN number should you like to go and buy it. And I would, if you want to do or research even narrow gauge in North Wales, it is well worth getting, because it's not only interesting, but it's a historical document as well. So I'll put that up at the end of the video so you can see exactly what I'm talking about.